Hey guys, what's up? It's Brandon with Adaptive Defense Methods. Hope you guys are doing good. I just wanted to take a few minutes in my quiet morning to drop some thoughts of wisdom to you guys, specifically on the topic of does my system work? Or does my practice of martial arts work for self defense more specifically? I'm sure a lot of you have seen the countless videos on challenging other systems and the idea that only more so of an MMA style of practice and fighting would work in a self defense encounter, or you have people like Joe Rogan that completely dismiss just about any other practice besides MMA, saying that none of that works. Or you have the typical YouTube chair warrior that will look at a video and say, "Oh, that'll never work." And I think, as my dad always used to tell me, it's not the style, but it's the person behind the style. Um, Being raised in a more traditional karate setting, um, I would see all these katas, and I'm sure you guys have seen me post countless videos from karate culture. Um, but I would see all these katas, and I would tend to make fun of them, you know, in private and even with some of my students. Um, I didn't know any better, honestly, because no one took the time to break down these katas for me when what these moves actually represented in real time. So when I actually started to look at katas and movements and have people break them down, I began to get outside of my own arrogance, and I understood that the moves that I saw in these traditional karate systems were pretty flippin' close to what we see in MMA, or can be used in a MMA a setting, and a lot of it was fighting from a clinch, throwing, uh, and being able to do an armbar submission if necessary. But real self defense is doing what you need to do with minimal uh, damage necessary, and or eliciting the type of violence needed to survive an encounter, and then getting out of there. That's what self defense is. I think any person that really understands the application behind what they're doing and knows how to apply that technique or whatever would be an absolute nightmare. I think if you take a person that really understands the application behind uh, Shotokan karate and what that kata, what these high blocks or strikes or various movements of look like, would be an absolute nightmare for the typical jackwagon out in the streets that thinks that they know something, because they're a big tough ego filled soul that really is just arrogant and doesn't know any better. Um, so, in the midst of this culture that we live in, where everybody is questioning, what they've been taught, on one hand, it's good. I think it's needed. We need to question a whole lot of stuff in terms of martial arts. I've spent the last 4 or 5 years of my life really questioning a lot of what I've been taught by various people, and I've done away with certain methods, or not so much done away, but reapplied those methods in a more functional way, which is another buzzword, functional. But I reapplied some of these things, like how to use trapping from Jun Fan or Wing Chun in a more clinch range, as opposed to an outside reference point, high range type thing. Uh, there's this Aikido guy that I've been following on YouTube, and he's been really aware that his Aikido doesn't work against a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy or a trained MMA fighter. And it's sad because this person has all but done away with his Aikido, saying that like his wrist locks take down don't work and such. And I applaud his exploration. I really do. But I think that, again, what matters most is learning how to reapply his Aikido. Again, maybe that comes from a clinch position after punching and elbowing and striking and softening up in an attacker, and then maybe doing the wrist lock takedown. I don't know. But again, you don't have to go around and say things don't work or that would never work, or all you just need to train MMA, because I think that's kind of a cop-out statement, because MMA really is just training everything and being well-rounded, not necessarily training for the UFC or Bellator. So lastly, whatever you choose to train it well. Ask questions. Most importantly, look for the application. How can you apply what you're learning right now with resistance, stress? How can you make things efficient and or more simple for yourself? And if your instructor doesn't really like your personal exploration, well then they're not a good instructor, and you should probably go find something else or someone else or somewhere else to train. But explore. Don't be afraid to explore. Look for application again, and be open-minded to what other systems can teach you. Alright, so I hope you guys have a good day, and we'll be back soon with a new video. Peace.